What up, everybody? You're watching New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. Give me a follow over on Twitter at @MarshallGreen_. That way you can stay up to date on everything surrounding the New York Knicks. Like the first thing you would have, or the first place you would have found out about Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle being questionable for Game 2 was over on my Twitter, so go ahead and give me a follow. This was kind of a bombshell report. Ian Begley says Julius Randle a sprained ankle and Jalen Brunson a sore ankle are questionable for Game 2, and I am in absolute shambles. I can deal with Julius Randle not playing, even though I think he probably is going to play Game 2. Jalen Brunson not playing Game 2 would pretty much be a death sentence for the New York Knicks. If you lose Game 2, this series is over. This is a must-win ball game, and if you're not going to have Jalen Brunson out there, the Knicks could be in for a world of problems. The Knicks were able to beat the Miami Heat earlier this year one time without Jalen Brunson, but they had Julius Randle, and that was when Immanuel quickly was playing like the best sixth man in the NBA. Right now in the playoffs, he is not doing that. So I'm worried. I do expect Brunson to play. I don't think there's a world we live in where he doesn't play Game 2. He's going to play as much as he can at least, but man, oh man, I am pretty upset about this one. This is what Tom Thibodeau had to say, though, about Julius Randle. He was asked about what he's doing and how he's looking. He says, I don't know how close he was to playing Game 1. I know he worked out before. I just trust him and the medical staff to make that decision. So plan both ways, a plan with him going and a plan if he didn't go. So once they make a decision, that's it. You live with it, and you got to figure it out. We have more than enough. Randle has to be out there for Game 2, and it's not even because the Knicks need the points and the production from Julius Randle. It changes the Heat's game plan so much. Because I believe if Julius Randle is out there, they're going to have to put either Bam Adebayo or Jimmy Butler on him. And then if they don't, like they didn't have to in Game 1, Bam Adebayo's number one job was to box out. He had 12 box outs in Game 1. He averaged 4 per game in the first series versus the Milwaukee Bucks. So he tripled that. Obviously, Eric Spoelstra told him, anytime a shot goes up, you go out and find Mitchell Robinson and box him out, which would be a lot harder for Bam Adebayo to do if he's having to guard Julius Randle because Randle hangs out on the perimeter. And then you would have to rely on Kevin Love, who is a good back box out guy and one of the best outlet passers in the NBA. We'll talk about that. Would have the responsibility of keeping Mitchell Robinson off the glass, which I think is a much more favorable matchup for the Knicks. So Randle being out there, yes, it makes the Knicks better, but I think it changes the Miami Heat's game plan just a little bit. Do I think he's going to play? I think he has to. Will he play, though? That's the question. You decide it. Will Randle play in Game 2 against the Miami Heat with the Knicks being down 0-1 in this series? I'd like to think yes. They need him for a lot of reasons. We talked about some. What do you think? Why for yes and for no? I want to recap Game 1 quickly before we move on to my keys to victory and things I want to see change in Game 2. The things that jump off the stat sheet for me is the fact that the Knicks had 5 more turnovers than the Miami Heat, and they shot 20% from downtown. The Heat attempted 5 more threes, and they made 6 more threes. You got to hit your shots. That's really, I know that there's a lot of things you could talk about, but I'll put it like this. If the Knicks hit their shots, if they shoot 30%, that game's a lot more tight down the end. I mean, the game, there was a 3-point margin. When there was 4.5 minutes left after Jimmy Butler got hurt, the Heat missed a shot. I forgot who shot it, but Mitchell Robinson comes down with the rebound. The Knicks are going the other way, down 3. Then Kyle Lowry comes out of nowhere and pokes it away. So that game was in the grasp, at least for the Knicks, and they played terrible and really played terrible, not so much, shot terrible is what I want to say. They shot terribly. They have to hit their shots, and they missed not having Randle out there. Anytime Brunson drove, the Heat packed their defense in. They said, we are not going to let Jalen Brunson win from in the paint. And even though he kind of did, he was 0 for 7 from downtown, and he shot really well from inside the paint. But when he sprayed it out to open shooters, much like RJ Barrett did, those guys just did not feast on their open shots. And that was, they played right into the Heat's hands. Eric Spoelstra said, look, The Knicks shot less than 35% in the first round of the series against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Spoelstra said for the Knicks to win, they're going to have to make shots, and they did not do that. So you got to make shots. Having Randle out there helps as well. Nasty game one. It's in the rear view. Just one game. Still rolling with Knicks in 6. Before we get to the things that I'm looking at and want to see changed in game 2, I want to tell you guys how to win some money. Go to chatsports.com/underdog Knicks and use the promo code ChatNYK and get hooked up with our proud sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. You could place picks and have player projection pick'ems with football, basketball, soccer, baseball. If it's a sport, you can place a lineup with Underdog Fantasy, who is the leading name in best ball and pick'em fantasy sports. Experience their extensive offerings, including daily drafts, season-long best ball, and player pick'em for the chance to win thousands or even millions of dollars. Take advantage of their seamless platform, personalized rankings, and exceptional customer service for the ultimate fantasy sports experience. Go to chatsports.com/underdog Knicks, and they will match your initial deposit bonus of up to $100. And use the promo code ChatNYK. I rolled with a 3-player lineup for Tuesday's games. They didn't let me choose any Knicks games at the time of recording, but by the time you're watching this, you will be able to select some players from those lineups. I selected the lower on Bam Adebayo points. I selected the higher on LeBron James's points in game 1 against the Golden State Warriors, and also higher on Anthony Davis's points against the Golden State Warriors. I think this could be a LeBron James and AD series. You can roll with me or you can fade me. Do it over on chatsports.com/underdog Knicks. Just remember to use the promo code ChatNYK. That link is clickable in the comments and description of today's show. Let's talk about some Heat injury stuff right now. Jimmy Butler has officially been listed as questionable for Game 2. The Miami Heat, as well as the New York Knicks, had to release their official injury report. Christian Winfield, who covers the NBA, said he's not going to take a photo, but Jimmy Butler's ankle is swollen to about the size of a baseball. He just had his ankle taped. That's going to be painful in the morning. This was just after Game 1. Then Jeff Stotts, who is an injury specialist doctor, works for... I actually forgot who he works for, but he's a specialist. Set that up terribly. F. Marshy in the chat. But I love what he had to say. Good context here. He said, read Jimmy Butler. A lot of the specifics surrounding his latest injuries still need to be determined, but Butler does have a long history of right ankle sprains. He has been able to return without missing time on at least 6 different occasions and never missed more than 3 consecutive games. Butler suffered a right ankle sprain in December of this season and returned after one missed game, 5 days. He will likely be in an elevated injury risk or aggravation for re-injury when he does. So what does that tell you? This has happened time and time again for Jimmy Butler, and he's never missed more than 5 days. I expect him to play. I do. Am I going to be surprised if he doesn't play? Sure, but I won't be shocked. I expect him to play, though. I mean, really, the Heat are playing with house money. You don't need him to play. You already got the split in New York. That's all you want. You want to go 1-1. So the Heat could rest him because the Knicks and Heat don't play again until Game 3 until Saturday. So we could have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and 5.5 days before he has to play again. I expect him to play, but I'm not going to be shocked if he doesn't. But I do expect Jimmy Butler to be out there, and I want to play Jimmy Butler. I want to beat the Heat at with their best hands. Changes needed for Game 2, though, for the New York Knicks. We'll close today's show with these 5 things. We can go rapid fire here. Quentin Grimes needs more minutes, plain and simply. He played 10 minutes. Knicks couldn't buy a shot. How about you get your best shot maker out there from downtown? Best catch-and-shoot player on the Knicks is Quentin Grimes. I don't know if I need 43 minutes from Josh Hart. I don't know if I need 30 minutes from Immanuel quickly. Maybe 38 from Josh Hart and 25 from Immanuel quickly, and that gets Grimes up to 20 minutes. He needs more minutes. The Knicks have to defend without fouling. The New York Knicks were called for 7 more fouls than the Miami Heat. The Knicks had 21 fouls. The Heat, they had 24. You can blame it on the ref, whatever. How about you stop jumping at every pump fake, looking like a fish out of water? The Heat are full of veterans. Jimmy Butler, Kevin Love, Kyle Lowry. They have that veteran wisdom. 2 guys that have won championships on this roster. Jimmy Butler's played in a bunch of high-level playoff games. Stop jumping at every pump fake. Defend without fouling. If you let the Heat live at the foul line, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. This one may be a little weird to some people. I thought the Knicks overhelped on Jimmy Butler a little bit, and I thought he handled that really, really well. He wasn't looking for his shot really in that first half. I think he really only took like 4 jump shots in the whole game. I thought the Knicks overhelping on Jimmy Butler resulted in open looks for Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin and Duncan Robinson and Kyle Lowry and Kevin Love. Trust your defense. Trust your initial help defense. I don't need the whole defense to rotate to Jimmy Butler. That doesn't mean you can't double him. They should double him, and I like the different coverages they threw at him, but you can't just leave everybody open. The Knicks were out of whack. They were over-rotated, and Jimmy Butler played a hell of a game, and I thought he moved the ball well, had a bunch of hockey assists. It was like Butler would throw it to a guy, and another guy would throw it to a guy, and another guy, and then another guy. It was like a pinball for the Miami Heat on offense. Don't overhelp. Be smarter on the defensive end. This kind of ties into that. Balance the floor a little bit better on offense and defense, specifically on offense. How many times did we see where the Knicks didn't have any balance? They were all inside the paint. The Heat had 5 people touching the paint, and then a shot would go up, and the Knicks would be out of whack, and Kevin Love would get a rebound and throw it ahead to Jimmy Butler. Balance the floor better, because you can't let them just get those easy run-out buckets. You can't let that happen. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, though, because we're going to continue to put out videos every single day about the latest Knicks news and rumors. And we're going to be live for Game 2, Game 3, Game 4, Game 5, and Game 6 when the Knicks clinch this series. So subscribe, sub for dubs. Don't jinx it. I want to see the Knicks run more pick and rolls with Mitchell Robinson. And I want to see him set better screens. Because how many times did we see him set a screen on Jimmy Butler and he just kind of slipped it a little bit and he didn't really screen or make contact with Butler overall? But the reason I want to see that is because early in the game we saw R.J. Barrett get downhill and we saw a couple lobs to Mitchell Robinson. On those pick and rolls, Bam Adebayo is playing drop coverage. So if you get around the pick, you're one-on-one with Bam, and he's sitting there. You got an easy little floater, and if he steps up, you got an easy lob pass to Mitchell Robinson. I thought they executed those well in the first half. I want to see more of that in Game 2. Speaking of Game 2, who do you got? Who do you got winning Game 2? The Knicks' backs are against the wall. They lose Game 2. I'm not going to say the series is over, but it's damn near over. The Warriors found a way to come back from down 2-0, but the thing is, they were at homes for Game 3 and Game 4. Knicks will be on the road for Game 3 and Game 4. Even though it is MSG South down in Miami, you got to win one of these games, man. You really do. If you go down 2-0, it's going to be tough. Jimmy Butler's going to smell blood in the water for Game 3. Let me know who you got, MIA, NYK. Thank you to everybody for tuning in, everyone that's supporting. We appreciate it. Hit that thumbs up icon as we bounce up out of this piece. Let's go, Knicks.